or a substantive number is raised, then the business will continue. The matters with regards to causes, the major causes of the recent surge in gender-based violence cases, including the alarming rise in femicide incidents, which reached at least 170 cases in 2024, equal to 79% increase compared to 2023. This is a concern that the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture, Arts and Heritage will be addressing. Also, concerns from the Senator for Kisumu County are what institutional challenges that currently hinder the effective enforcement of GBV-related laws. Remember, there are already laws in place, and the Senator will be seeking to find out whether there are any challenges that are hindering enforcement of these laws and what systemic reforms are being implemented to strengthen the capacity of law enforcement agencies and the judiciary in handling GBV and femicide cases. We can at least now see a substantive number of members, at least inside the chamber. Hopefully in the next few seconds, minutes, we may raise that quorum and the business will commence. But however, we shall be waiting for direction, of course, from the Speaker if the quorum has been raised and if the House then can commence its business. More questions with regards to the gender-based violence cases is with regards to whether the Cabinet Secretary could provide data on the prosecution as well as conviction rates for GBV and femicide cases. All right, the quorum has been achieved. Allow me to hand you over.
We do have quorum now, so we will get down with the business of the day. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Administration of oath. Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Now, Honorable Senators, this morning we have the CS in charge of gender. I'm told he's already in the presence of Parliament, and she's here for purposes of responding to question number 50 and question number 76 by Senator Muma and Senator Tom Agenda, respectively. Clerk, you may now usher in the Honorable CS. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, perhaps before the CS gets in, the Speaker had received communication from the Office of the Clerk that the CS Treasury was appearing this morning to respond to questions, including a question that I had raised. As you guys see now, we have a different, we have a supplementary order paper, which means the CS is not coming. As Speaker, I just want your direction on this matter, because you remember the last time we had a conversation about the CS not appearing, you directed us to stop whining, and today I will not whine, Mr. Speaker, that we invoke the clause on the censure, that's a standing order, I think 51, Mr. Speaker, which I did, and I put forward a request, Mr. Speaker, for a censure motion against the CS Treasury. I have not received any communication on the status of that motion, Mr. Speaker. If we continue like this, then we are completely eroding the dignity of this House, completely. Mr. Speaker, just guide me on what, at this point, I'm supposed to do.
That matter was deliberated upon when it came before the SBC yesterday. And it was deemed that the two CSs, that is CS in charge of Treasury and the CS in charge of Tourism, had valid reasons, because they did communicate to me through the clerk, and the reasons they had given was deemed to be valid, and that's why the questions are not contained in today's order paper. And immediately SBC was done with the meeting, I think a communication was done to the effect that today's order paper was not going to contain the questions related to tourism and Treasury. And that's why we do not expect the CS Treasury and CS Tourism this morning. Do we have the CS in the House? Well, this is a matter that is still under processing. It may be approved, it may not be approved. It has to journey through the normal procedure.
Speaker, there is just a clarification I sought from you, because I wanted to seek from you, because you know the House had already made a decision that there was some misbehavior on the part of the CS Treasury. So when you say the motion by the Senator for Kitui may or may not be approved, I become a bit concerned, Honorable Speaker. It should be fast-tracked so that we are able to finish that matter.
The motion is not a property of the House yet. It is still under processing. It may get to the floor, it may not get to the floor, just like any other motion. And no decision had been made on the conduct of the CS Treasury. A decision of that nature is made pursuant to a motion, which motion has not found its way to the House.
Very well. Speaker, the request we are making is just the process of approval should be faster than what we're witnessing.
Honorable Senator, the chair knows how to handle these matters. You simply put in your motion and await.
Well guided, Speaker.
Thank you. Is the CS gender in the House? Now, honorable senators, let us not waste time on this matter. Let us get down to business. Senator Wambua, you have had a chance to speak on this particular issue. I have directed on how this matter is going to be handled. Let's leave it there. So let us dispense with these two questions. Then maybe, time allowing, I'll give you an opportunity to continue with your clarifications. Clerk, do we have the CS gender present? Good. Now, honorable senators, we do have the CS agenda in the House. Senator Mundegi, you do not exchange directly with your colleague. If you have any issue, you know exactly what to do. Now, the CS is here to respond to questions number 50 and 76. Number 50 is a question by Senator Catherine Muma. Now, honorable CS, welcome to the Senate. Since this is your first time appearing before this House and I believe Parliament, I will guide you on the procedure that we ordinarily follow during this question time. Now, the senator who has a question will rise to ask the question. Thereafter, I will ask you to respond to the question. Once you're done responding to the question, the senator who rose to ask the question will have a chance to ask you 2 supplementary questions. Now, the supplementary questions must be related to the primary questions that you'll have responded to. Thereafter, all the other senators will be at liberty to ask further supplementary questions. I will be guiding you when I feel that a question that has been asked by a senator is not a supplementary question. I'll be guiding you on whether you're in a position to respond to it. If you're not in a position to respond to it because you're not prepared and it's not related to the primary question, that you will not be under any obligation to respond to it now. However, you may undertake at some later date to supply written response to a question that you feel is not a supplementary question in its nature, but it's important that it be responded to. I will now ask Senator Catherine Muma to ask question number 50.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask this question. Honorable CS, you are welcome to the Senate, and congratulations for going through the processes of being appointed, and the women of Kenya looking up to you to help move the step on matters gender ahead. My question is question number 50, and the question is as follows. A, how has the Women Enterprise Fund performed in providing affordable and accessible loans since digitization of the exercise initiated, as was initiated in 2023? And could the Cabinet Secretary provide data per county on, 1, the number of women groups and individuals who have benefited since inception of the new system; 2, the increase in the disbursement of loans to chamas or small and medium scale enterprises over the last 2 financial years; 3, the increase in the onboarding of new chamas into the fund's database since the inception of the digital system; and 4, number of groups that have dropped out of the fund due to challenges they encountered during onboarding in the new system, and what the ministry is doing to restore them. B, what measures is the ministry taking to address concerns regarding the punitive decision of scraping credit scores for groups that had built their credit scores over the years dating back to long before the digitization of the fund? And C, what is the ministry doing to ensure that women entrepreneurs who wish to do businesses out of chamas are not discriminated against when it comes to accessing Women Enterprise Fund loans? Thank you.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'll go straight to answering the question. The question has been asked, and so, Honorable Speaker, I will respond to question A. Honorable Speaker, the fund changed its lending business model to digital from January 2023, following a presidential directive. The digital loan system went live on 1st January 2023, allowing women groups to opt into on *254# without a requirement of pre-funding criteria, except to having a Safaricom line. The initial phase was pilot, which ran till 16 September 2023. Then it was halted due to unprecedented loan default rate. Through this model, the fund had disbursed Kenya shillings 941,901,105 Kenya shillings to 18,955 women groups and I shall be inviting the House to look at Annexure 1, which has the data. The data on the annexure puts together all the counties, the digital loans given as per the counties, the groups, the amount, and the loan balance. And if you look at that, the groups are 18,955, the amount is 941,705,755. The loan balance, as at September 2024, is 692,783. It is detailed as per the county, and you can see the groups and how much was given and how much has been paid back, and the balance thereof. Number 2, or bullet 2, on that question is increase in the disbursement of loans to CHAMAs, small and medium-scale enterprises, SMSEs, over the last 2 financial years. Honorable Speaker, following the digital lending challenges experienced, the Funds Advisory Board, through the Cabinet Secretary, made a formal request to revert back to manual lending. His Excellency the President, through a communication from the Head of Public Service, reference SHGM Volume 1, dated 17 September 2024, granted the approval to revert back to manual lending through bankers' RIAM system. Since the resumption of the lending, the fund has disbursed 457,400,000 to 1,180 groups, benefiting 12,538 members under the revised Constituency Women Enterprise Scheme, CWES, lending channel C Annexure 2. The Annexure 2 is there at the back. That is again as per the counties. There's 47 counties of Kenya. So, and the groups, the number of members, and the approved amount is tabulated there very clearly. Number 3, in answering your question, Honorable Member, increase in the onboarding of new CHAMAs into the funds database since the inception of the digital system. Honorable Speaker, the digital lending product was halted barely 3 months after rollout, hence not much data was collected to facilitate onboarding growth analysis. 4, number of groups that have dropped out of the fund due to the challenges they encountered during the onboarding into the new system and what the ministry is doing to restore them. Honorable Speaker, the fund had lent to 136,499 groups since inception, but only 18,955 had borrowed under the digital loan product. For the 3, the product was on amounts, for the 3 was on the offer. Presumably, the rest of 1,117,544 groups had opted out due to the limiting loan amounts and shorter repayment period. However, upon reversion to the manual lending model, all groups with good repayment history have been able to express their interest in borrowing, resulting to disbursement of Kenya shillings 457,400,000 to 1,180 groups in the last 4 months. So the measures that the ministry is taking to address the concerns punitive decision of scrapping the credit scores. In answering that question, Honorable Member and Speaker, following the reversion to the manual lending model in December 2024, the fund has acknowledged the valid concerns raised by long-standing women groups regarding the loss of credit history and scores built over several years, particularly prior to the digitization phase. In response, the following strategic measures and policy interventions are being undertaken. 1, restoration and integration of historical credit records. The fund has integrated historical loan performance data from pre-digitization and digital records into the banker's RIM system. This aims to ensure that groups with strong repayment histories are recognized and rewarded through improved loan access, faster approvals, and ability to reinstate previous loan limits. 2, reinstatement of loan graduation. The fund has reinstated the tiered lending structure, allowing groups to progress based on their historical performance. Groups that had advanced to higher cycles before the digitization of their lending are being reassessed and reinstated to their previous cycles. The third intervention is targeted vetting and fast-tracking for legacy groups. Legacy groups with established track records are being fast-tracked through manual verification, including physical vetting by credit assistants to restore their access to credit without penalization. Number 4, stakeholder communication. A structured communication and engagement strategy has been initiated to inform groups of their options. There is more sensitization at constituency and county levels on the reinstated manual lending model. Number 5, policy review. The fund has documented lessons learned from digitization and endeavors to strengthen future transitions to safeguard borrower records and institutionalize credit score protection policies moving forward. C, the question is, what is the ministry doing to ensure that women entrepreneurs who wish to do business outside of chamas are not discriminated against when it comes to assessing web loans? Honorable Speaker, the fund is aware that not all women prefer or are able to operate within the group chama structures and is taking deliberate steps to expand financial inclusion by creating more flexible, individualized access products. The following measures are being implemented. 1, introduction of individual loan products. The ministry, through Women Enterprise Fund, has developed individual loan products tailored to meet the needs of women entrepreneurs who operate outside group chama models. These products will consider business registration or proof of income instead of group guarantees, scalable limits based on individual payment capacity, and customized training and financial literacy support. The products have been approved in the credit policy and will be rolled out progressively in the next financial year, subject to availability of funds. 2, policy framework to expand beyond group lending. The credit policy has been reviewed to diversify WEF's lending portfolio beyond the traditional group-based constituency women enterprise schemes model. This new framework will incorporate hybrid lending structures, including business loans, agricultural loans, and asset financing loans. The third intervention in that group, in that question, is capacity building for individual entrepreneurs. The fund is expanding its training programs to cover individual women business owners. These include modules on business management, record keeping, and loan application readiness, and transitioning from informal to formal entrepreneurship. Strategic partnership with financial institutions. Women Enterprise Fund is engaging banks, savings and credit organization circles to co-design individual credit products that are accessible, affordable, and scalable for women. This partnership also allows for shared risk and improved loan management infrastructure. 5, stakeholder consultation and feedback mechanisms. Regular public participation forums and stakeholder engagement sessions are being held to understand the evolving needs of women entrepreneurs. Feedback is being used to inform the development of inclusive products. Honorable Speaker, the fund is committed to eliminating structural barriers to credit for all women, whether in groups or as individuals, by broadening its approach and product range. Women Enterprise Fund is transforming into a more inclusive and responsive fund aligned with the diverse realities of Kenyan women entrepreneurs. Honorable Speaker, so that is the response to that question number 050, and as guided by your, I'm now seeking your guidance whether we have answered question number 50.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Honorable CS, you may take your seat. I will now allow Senator Muma to ask 2 supplementary questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Honorable CS, for the responses. Clearly, I think there is a lot that's happening around WEF that has potential, and I think we will be engaging a lot more in order for us to be able to advise women around this fund. My first supplementary question is hinged on the fact that economies are going digital, and I would want to know why the digitization exercise did not go well in regard to this particular what is the highest amount lent and defaulted on, and by whom? Thank you.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and the member, for those 2 good questions, which informs exactly where we are and the challenges that we were faced. On the first question of why digitalization did not go well, is because of the system, the way it was put. The amount that was being borrowed through the manual lending was a lot. It was 750,000. But when it went digital, it was 50,000, and most members or women did not embrace that. And also the follow-up, because of this, you borrow and there was no way of tracking the repayment of that money. The second question is, which group has the highest amount? From the data that we have, there is a group that is called Pamoja Women Development Program. The amount which was disbursed is a total of 40 million. On 12th of February 2009, they were given 20 million. And on 13th of December 2009, they were given another 20 million. From the data that we have, is that amount is still outstanding. They went to court, and this matter is coming up tomorrow. That is the 3rd of May, and when we shall know the verdict. However, at this point, I would like to usher in the CEO of WEB so that we can get finer details as to who are these people. It is important that it is disclosed.
Honorable CS, we, under our standing orders, we can only, your people, your officers, your staff can only communicate through you. You are the only person who can interact with the Senate. So if there's any information you want to share, you can get it from your CEO and make it available to us. But your staff may not have audience before the House.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm guided. I'll be able to mention the security that is held by Women Enterprise Fund. We have the security held by Moses Karanja Tutha and Isaac Kitau Kamau. And since this is a matter that is before court, we may then wait to get the verdict from court, then thereafter we shall communicate the details. We will be willing.
Very well, Honorable CS. I will now call Senator Wambua to proceed to ask his supplementary question. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mine would really not be a question. I just want to make a comment on the response that the CS has brought. First, to begin by congratulating her that, Mr. Speaker, this is a maiden appearance in this House, and truth be told, from where I sit, Mr. Speaker, she has done well for her first appearance in terms of the detail of the question that she has brought to the House.
What is the point of order, Senator Boni?
Mr. Speaker, on the point of relevance, is this question time or time to make comments? The Senator of Kitui has clearly said he has no question, he has a comment. Can he allow members with questions to ask questions, Mr. Speaker?
Understanding order number 1, I will allow him to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what I do with my question time is my business. It's not the business of the Senator of Kakamega. As well, Mr. Speaker, I will proceed to make my comment that I have seen CSs who have appeared before us before, and they have been all over the page with all manner of explanations and no detail. This lady, I must say it, the Senator of Kakamega, she has done a good job. And especially given the situation that she finds herself in, she has done a good job. We are human. We must not behave like people who don't know our history. This lady is mourning her husband, who was your colleague. It is time to encourage her. And there will be opportunity, Senator Kakamega, to dig in and push. For now, it is to give her some strength and comfort that, Madam CS, you have done well. This house, this is the house where your husband used to sit. He was our colleague. And we want to tell you, continue in that spirit and be strengthened. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I have a question to the Minister with regards to our answer on individual loan products to women. Women entrepreneurs, Mr. Speaker, face very serious challenges. And women have to overcome more barriers than us men in terms of access to opportunities. I have seen in the Minister's response that this individual loan product that she talked about has been approved by the Women Enterprise Fund Credit Policy Committee, which is a good step. She has further told the House, Mr. Speaker, in her response, that this product will now be available in the next financial year, subject to the availability of funds. It will be important for us to tell the House how much they have requested from the budget that is presently before the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, for us to know. Secondly, apart from the work that they do at the national level, is there any intention to collaborate the efforts of Women Enterprise Fund and our county governments to capacity build for our counties to ensure that I see many counties try to run enterprise programs for young people and for women. Given that Women Enterprise Fund has been the model institution in the country, and they have learned over the years how to do this better. What is at stake in terms of planning collaboration with our county governments? Lastly, Mr. Speaker, if you permit me, is also to make a comment like Senator Wambua, to congratulate the CS first on her appointment, secondly on her maiden appearance before this House, and to tell her that she has done well so far, and she should keep up the good work, ensuring that she turns up to Parliament like this when she is invited, and to appreciate that so far she has given a good account of herself. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable CS, just note down those questions because you'll take some more from Honorable Senators. The Honorable Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to, first of all, start by congratulating Honorable CS for the good work that she's doing and telling her to keep it up and to be strong and help the women of this country. And I asked her what she's doing about the GBV in Machakos, if we have any houses she's planning to build in Machakos as a rescue centers for gender-based violence, women and girls. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable CS, that is not a supplementary question because it's not related to the primary questions. However, if you're in a position to respond, you may, but you're not obligated to respond to it now. Senator Kathuri Murungi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to really encourage the CS. Our performance is actually at 80% since this is the maiden appearance of the Senate. Honorable Speaker, I want to ask a supplementary question on the performance of the loan, Women Enterprise Fund. Performance of the loans disbursed since inception of Women Enterprise Fund to both the group loans and individual loans. And Mr. Speaker, since there has been a debate that there are so many funds out there, there is Women Enterprise Fund, Youth Enterprise Fund, Micro Small Enterprises, Authority also has money giving to the small businesses. So whether the CS is comfortable, whether she supports corrupts of all these funds so that we can have one fund which is administered across board so that, Mr. Speaker, we don't have so many funds across the country or in government, or whether she supports the corrupts of all these funds. Thank you.
Senator Karenyamu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to join my colleagues in congratulating the CS and tell her that her work is cut out for her. Of the women of Kenya, our expectations are very high on this docket, on her docket. We want to have to think about her legacy and the impact this position is going to have on the women of Kenya, and to ignore the noise because public work can attract a lot of noise, but we support you. And anytime you need us to help you with any legislative proposal you may have, we are here to support you. Thank you.
Senator Veronica Maina.
Honorable CS, welcome to the House and congratulations. I am confident that you'll be able to carry out your mandate and you make all the women proud. I have a question supplementary to the question asked by Senator Catherine Muma. In your response, you have indicated that 1,180 groups have benefited, about 12,538 members under the revised Constituency Women Enterprise Scheme. Honorable CS, as you can very well see, so many women have been left out of that bracket. 12,538 is almost an underwhelming number. And when you look at the women and the role they have towards the family, towards the community, they make up over 50% of our population. And we now have very many women who are heading homesteads as single parents. And we have very many women who are in very vulnerable categories. What is the ministry doing to ensure that this fund is accessible to many more women, and to ensure that the requirement for security, even by the formal banking sector, when women are borrowing, those requirements are being eased off to give women access to more finance and access to more loans to be able to do business and support their livelihoods and their families' livelihoods.
Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank the CS for appearing before the Senate today, and also congratulate her for her appointment. And I wanted to tell Madam CS, the seat I am sitting on today was being occupied by Senator Cheptumo earlier. And your response was very good. Somebody gave you 80%. I'm giving you 90%. I have only one question. Madam CS, we had women from Marsabit who were trained about 6 months ago, from 6 months ago up to maybe a year. And I want you to visit Marsabit, if possible, and see how we can help the women of Marsabit County. As you are aware, Marsabit County is one of the most poorest counties, among the most poor counties in this republic. Kindly, karibu sana to Marsabit. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator George Mbugua.
Thank you, Speaker. CS, I would like you to tell this House what specific interventions your ministry has done to help women with disability access these loans on the digitized platform, and how many groups for women with disabilities have benefited. Thank you.
Senator Eddy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, CS. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate you on your new role. And I must say that today I'm seeing the members of the House being very amicable and welcoming you to this House very amicably. But I must say that we as a House, in our oversight role, have faced a lot of challenges with a few CSS who sometimes are contentious with this House in terms of sometimes not honoring the invitations of this House. So I want to wish you the courage to veer from that path, even as you take this new role, that when we invite you to this House, I hope that the partnership will be that you also honor this House more than some CSS have done before. But that said, I just wanted to have a quick follow-up question. We had, as the CS in charge of cooperatives, and we were looking at the ASLAS fund, I think last week. And one of the challenges that we had was that there is no framework that is clear in terms of proper follow-up on people paying for these monies. I wanted to ask you on this particular fund that you are administering, what is the framework to ensure that people actually do abide by being able to pay back where it is required, and making sure that there's an evaluation framework for the impact of those funds with these women? What are the metrics you're using to evaluate that this money is placed in a place that is ensuring that the return on investment on those funds as a government? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you very much, Speaker Sir, for those questions. I'll attempt to answer. The answers that we'll not be able to give in full, we will commit. The first question was by the majority leader on how much we have requested through the budget, has been requested through the budget process. And the figure that we have is 4.5 billion. That is the amount. If approved and given, then it will be able to push this agenda. The other issue is about the county collaboration. The web is trying as much as possible to deal and reach out to the county governments because that is where majority of Kenyan populace are, and we can work very well only if we merge our issues or work together with the counties. And from the data that we have, web is in collaboration with Nairobi County, Uasin Gishu County, and Kilifi County. And for the other counties, we are engaging more. They are engaging more together with our help as the ministry to ensure that all those counties are also reached. The other question was by Senator Kathuri, if I got the name properly, sorry if I didn't get. The performance of the fund since inception. Since inception, the amount of money that has been disbursed is 27 billion to over 136,000 groups. The question, one of the questions which was asked was whether we support the merger. The challenge that is there with the merger is the specialized groups. Women, for example, have their special way of doing things. The other groups also have a special way. So if we merge without looking at the ripple effects, then most likely it will again go back to frustrating the efforts which have been made. And as one member said, these are the people, the women have issues and they have specialized way of meeting their needs. And therefore it would be important that we pilot first before we completely merge, because it may actually kill the original objective. Senator Veronica Maina asked about the security that the groups are supposed to have. We are engaging the groups at the grassroots level, including the chiefs who know these women, and they can be able to help even when we are tracking the monies that have not been paid. And actually that is where we had a challenge when it comes to digitalization, because there wasn't a follow-up. But now the 10 members who belong to that group are known to the local administration. And that is almost the main security that we are looking at. And we have the officers who are monitoring and ensuring that we follow the repayment of that money almost on daily basis, because they are in contact, they have their records. Senator Mbugua asked the question about PWLD. We have this one. I would beg that I be allowed to get more details, because this is a group that has to be, dealt with very clearly. So I will be seeking for more clarification, although the answer that I have here is that we have a specific product, but we will design a product that will be specific. So allow me to follow up so that we get what is actually tailor-made specifically for these PWDs. On the issue of the recovery framework, the recovery framework is, they are looking at the physical visits and meetings of the individual borrowers. The group membership also guarantee themselves. And these people are being reached at the level in which they even understand the language. Because forms and these issues of borrowing are mostly in a language that sometimes may be difficult for them to interpret, but the officers who are reaching out to them are able to explain to them how they can fill those forms, how they use that money, and how they repay back. So I think those are the answers that I have. In case there is anything that we have not clarified, then we shall be seeking for more time to respond. About Marsabit, yes, we commit to visit so that we can find out what is happening and how the women would want us to move together. So that one I can commit.
Senator Mazayo, what is your issue, Senator Veronica, before Senator Mazayo takes to the floor?
Maybe Honorable CS can take time and even bring the answer later. What the ministry is doing to make sure the fund is reaching many more women, especially seeing that those who have benefited here are very few. That's one of the questions I asked. And then on the issue of security, it was in respect of what the ministry is doing to ensure even the formal banking sector has reduced the need for security, the securities that women do not own, like titles, heavy securities that make it difficult for women to access, had more finance from formal banking sector. What is the ministry doing to ensure that those requirements are eased for women to make it easy to access credit?
Honorable CS, we'll take a couple of questions before you take to the stand to respond. Senator for Kilifi, Senator Mazayo.
Asante mstahiki Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii. Swali langu kwa waziri ni, kwanza nataka kupatia kongole kwa kuchaguliwa na rais kama waziri wa mambo ya jinsia, utamaduni katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Ninao matumaini ya kwamba utafanya kazi inavyotakikana na utaweka bendera ya mume wako kama vile ilivyokuwa hapa, akifanya kazi kwa bidii na juhudi kuona kwamba amesaidia watu wake wa huko nyumbani. Swala langu mimi ni, kama wizara yako iko na hesabu au data ambayo inaweza kuonyesha usaidizi wote wa akina mama katika taifa la Kenya ambao wanaweza kufikia yale masoko ambayo yanaweza kuwasaidia katika biashara yao. Asante. Asante.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to also join my colleagues to congratulate the CS and want to thank the President for recognition of her ability for appointing her as a CS. Honorable Speaker, one thing I have noted is that if we look at the amount of money that has been dispersed, it's more on the urban side. We are getting more money. You see, here like Nairobi is getting 236 million. Kiambu, 155 million. But of course, as you go far from Nairobi, even in your own hometown, Baringo, there are only 10 member groups. This shows that Wajir, if you go my own town, I mean my own county, there are only 24 groups that took 5,550,000. This shows that, people are not getting access to the credit, to the fund, because of maybe lack of security. This country, it's more of a patriarchal country where men only rule and have on the title deeds. So I'm asking the CS, what is now that the security is not there for women, what other plan do you have, your minister have, so that at least the rural women can be able to access credit from this fund?
Senator Tom Ogenda.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I have a question. My question is question number 76.
No. Senators, kindly be attentive as we move forward. Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues to congratulate Anna for her appointment as the CS. Honorable Speaker, as my colleagues have said, maybe the CS needs to also do some more of civic education in the rural counties so that more of our women may take these particular funds to at least empower them economically, especially in the groups, so that they can develop. Honorable Speaker, I remember when I was the MB for Marakwet West, we worked very closely with the ministry to ensure more groups and also assist them to basically undertake projects that are more viable, that will give them a profit. So that's what we just want to ask her to maybe focus and go to the, use the officers on the ground to assist our women groups so that they can be empowered. Honorable Speaker, also, maybe as a government they need to look at the Women Enterprise Fund and the Youth Enterprise Fund and the ASLA Fund. Is it possible, maybe at some stage, maybe it's good to merge them together into one serious empowerment fund to assist the youth and the women and the BWDs. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for again giving me a chance to clarify, especially on the questions that have been asked earlier. So Senator Veronica asked about the issue of funding. To be able to reach many women, we require the funds. And that is the challenge that is there, considering that the amount of money that had been given earlier, most of it has not been repaid back, and it was supposed to be a revolving fund. However, if subject to availability of funds, we shall be able to lend to as many groups as possible, because you just require a group of 10 members, and they don't require any security. The security is the chiefs, and then the local, just the local leadership. These are people who know each other. So there is no security that is required. Senator Marzayo, we have a department of market linkages, and we are working to ensure that our women products reach the markets. And definitely, as a ministry, we are looking at an all-government approach. So it does, this Women Enterprise Fund is not working in isolation. We work with the other ministries to ensure that we make use of the already existing structures. Senator Abbas asked about the sensitization of the women. We have the fund operators who are on the ground sensitizing the women on how to access this credit. And we use all the same local administration to pass the information, because that is where these women are. So we work with them to ensure that they, in their normal meetings or in the local administration, women are sensitized on the need to borrow so that they can also access funds for purposes of running their businesses. There is also an introduction of Sharia-compliant product because of the Muslim culture. And you know them, they don't believe in interest, they believe in profits, if I'm not wrong. So we are trying to ensure that we capture all sectors. We are also intensifying information to ensure that we reach the women at the marginalized areas. So all these measures that are there is to ensure that everyone, even if it's using the vernacular stations, to ensure that they know what is happening. But mostly we have an all-government approach. We work with all the other sectors of the government to ensure that we make use of the platforms that we have to pass the information. I can't quite remember the question that was asked by Senator Abbas.
Senator Abbas, maybe you may repeat the question.
But the rural areas don't have title deeds.
Yes.
And mostly in Kenya, actually women don't own many properties. They are more of a patriarchal country. It's only men who own most of the titles. So is there any other way that we have, without security or any other measures that can be used for the women to access the fund without any title deed?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. I think that is a question that then I will just re-emphasize that the Women Enterprise Fund, we don't ask for security. Security is just a local administration and their own groups because they know each other. And the officers who are there to ensure that they monitor and they remind them. Sometimes it is not that they don't want to pay. It is because monitoring. That is why digital could not work. But this one for borrowing one-on-one is what is helping because we have their data and their forms. Senator Saf? No, Senator Kisang. Sorry, Senator, it is somebody else who wrote. I know your name properly. Civic education is what is very key. The women have to be reminded every time that this is a facility that belongs to all women. It is not for a special category of people. And this civic education is being carried out at the constituency level, and the women are being advised, or rather they are being educated through their forums, even in churches where they are meeting, to be told that this is a facility that is there and it is available to anyone as long as you meet the minimum requirement of being at least 10 members. So, and I know most of the places, the marginalized communities, some of this information has not reached out to them, but that is exactly what we shall be endeavoring to do, to ensure that we reach out in all forums, that they are available, to ensure that they get to know that this facility is available and they should make use of it. Thank you very much.
Senator Olakina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me begin by congratulating the newly appointed Cabinet Secretary. I was with her in Narok last week, or is it 2 weeks ago? And my question to you, knowing that you're the new kid on the block, and women demands a lot from you. I've listened to the questions asked by my colleagues. On this issue of women being able to borrow money, access to that money, are you in a position to devolve? Because I'm imagining of a woman in Baringo or a woman in Narok County in Mosiro who cannot be able to access through the phone, who also is not able to come to Nairobi. How is that woman going to know that there is money that she can be able to apply, either individually or through a group? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for that question. If you remember in my answer, initially we said this issue of digital borrowing has been almost vacated because it is not every woman has a phone. Not everybody has a phone, by the way. So we are reverting back to manual borrowing, and that requires personnel to ensure that they go educating the members, or rather the women, on the availability of this fund. So we are using the constituency. We have officers at the constituency level who are tasked with that role of ensuring that they educate the members on the availability of that fund. And when we talk about constituencies, that is where they are. And we have an officer who is actually educating them at that level. Then that information, with time, maybe progressively, with time it will reach out to them. And we shall also be making a follow-up to ensure that we don't just speak, but we ensure that we also get the reports from the constituency level on how many people, how much publicity has been made to our clients then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable CS. I will now allow the Senator for Kisumu, the Honorable Professor Tom Agenda, to ask question number 76. Honorable Senator, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I want to ask the question from this desk. Mr. Speaker, to the CS Gender, Culture and Arts and Heritage, I wish to ask question number 76. CS, what factors have been identified as the major causes of the recent surge in gender-based violence cases, including the alarming rise in femicide incidents, which reached at least 170 cases in 2024, a 79% increase compared to 2023. Part two, what institutional challenges currently hinder the effective enforcement, enforcement of GBV-related laws, and what systemic reforms are being implemented to strengthen the capacity of law enforcement agencies and the judiciary in handling gender-based violence and femicide cases. So, Speaker, part three is, could the Cabinet Secretary provide data on the prosecution and conviction rates for GBV and femicide cases in Kenya over the past 5 years, and indicate whether there are plans to establish GBV courts to expedite and sensitively handle these cases. Part D, what is the current status of the implementation of the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act and the national policy on prevention and response to gender-based violence? And could the CS provide an audit or evaluation of their effectiveness? Lastly, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status report on the availability, accessibility, and distribution of safe shelters, psychosocial support services, and legal aid mechanisms for gender-based violence survivors across the 47 countries? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and member, for that question. Honorable Speaker, the recent surge in gender-based violence and femicide in Kenya has escalated into a national crisis, prompting urgent calls for comprehensive action. Between August and October 2024 alone, at least 97 women were killed in gender-related murders. Addressing this multifaceted crisis requires a concerted effort to challenge societal norms, strengthen legal frameworks, and provide comprehensive support to survivors. Only through systemic change and sustained commitment can Kenya hope to reverse the rising tide of GBV and femicide. In cases of gender-based violence and femicide, increased cases of GBV and femicide are driven by a complex mix of social, economic, cultural, legal, and institutional factors. And below are the contributors. Contributor number 1 in the list is socio-economic factors. We live in a patriarchal society, and patriarchal norms and gender inequality societies prioritize male dominance and control over women, often normalize violence. Harmful traditional practices such as child marriage and female genital mutilation contribute to GBV, and stigma and silence around GBV cultural taboos often prevent survivors from speaking out or seeking help. Economic factors: poverty and unemployment. Financial stress can increase household tensions, leading to violence. Women in economically dependent positions are more vulnerable. And economic disempowerment of women limits women's ability to leave abusive relationships or report violence. Legal and institutional gaps. Weak enforcement of GBV laws. Perpetrators often go unpunished due to corruption, poor policing, or lack of evidence. Inadequate protection mechanisms, lack of shelters, limited legal aid, and psychosocial support services, which are wanting. Slow justice systems. Survivors may be discouraged from pursuing cases due to delays or traumatizing processes. Political and conflict-related factors. Insecurity and conflict. During war or political unrest, GBV is often used as a weapon or becomes more prevalent due to breakdown of laws and order and inadequate political support in some devolved units. Media technology. There is normalization of violence in the media. Exposure to violent content can desensitize audiences or perpetuate harmful gender norms. Cyberbullying and online harassment. Social media has become a new frontier for GBV, especially against women in public life. Alcohol and substance abuse. Increased use of alcohol and drug abuse are linked to impulsivity and aggression, often escalating violent behavior at homes and in public spaces. The B of that question is what institutional challenges currently hinder the effective enforcement of GBV-related laws, and what systemic reforms are being implemented to strengthen the capacity of law enforcement agencies and the judiciary in handling GBV and femicide cases. Honorable Speaker, GBV remains a pervasive human rights issue in Kenya, affecting women, men, and children across all socioeconomic backgrounds. Despite the existence of progressive laws such as the Sexual Offences Act 2006, the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act 2015, and various provisions in the Constitution of Kenya, the enforcement of these legal frameworks continues to face significant obstacles. The institutional challenges undermine efforts to protect survivors, hold perpetrators accountable, and deter future incidents of gender-based violence. Addressing these systemic issues is crucial for achieving justice and fostering a society free from violence and discrimination. Honorable Speaker, the institutional challenges include, and I emphasize, 1, weak coordination among government agencies. There is often a lack of coordination between key factors such as the police, judiciary, health services, and social services. This fragmentation results in inconsistent responses and delays in case processing and inadequate survivor support. 2, inadequate capacity and training of law enforcement officers. Many police officers, prosecutors, and judicial officers lack specialized training in handling GBV cases. This leads to mishandling of evidence, insensitive treatment of survivors, and poor case outcomes. The third challenge is limited resources and infrastructure. Critical institutions such as police stations, gender desks, shelters, and forensic labs are under-resourced. This limits their ability to respond effectively to GBV incidents, especially in rural and marginalized areas. Corruption and impunity. Corruption within the justice system often leads to their dismissal or manipulation of these cases. Perpetrators may bribe officials to avoid prosecution, while survivors may be coerced with withdrawing the cases. Backlog and delays in the judicial system. Kenya's courts are overwhelmed with a backlog of cases, leading to significant delays in the resolution of these matters, and survivors often lose hope or drop cases due to the prolonged wait for justice. Cultural and social norms within institutions. Institutional personnel may hold patriarchal or victim-blaming attitudes, which influence their willingness to act decisively on GBV cases. Such norms often result in the trivialization or dismissal of complaints. Poor data management and case tracking. There is no comprehensive centralized system for collecting and managing GBV data across institutions. This hampers evidence-based policymaking and the monitoring of enforcement effectiveness. Inadequate survivor-centered approaches. Many institutions do not prioritize the safety, dignity, and confidentiality of GBV survivors. This deters survivors from reporting and engaging with formal systems. Honorable Speaker, my ministry, in collaboration with key stakeholders, is undertaking significant systemic reforms to enhance the capacity of law enforcement agencies and the judiciary in handling femicide cases. These efforts aim to address systemic challenges and ensure justice for survivors. The establishment of specialized gender-based violence courts. In 2023, the Kenyan judiciary launched at least 5 specialized sexual and gender-based violence special courts in regions including Shanzu, Siaya, Kisumu, Kibera, and Makadara. These courts are designed to expedite GBV cases, reduce case backlogs, and provide survivor-centered justice. Currently, Kenya has legal and enforcement gaps and deliver actionable recommendations within 90 days. Specialized units within the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, or DPP. The ODPP has established specialized units focusing on SGBV, counter trafficking in persons, and child protection. These units are staffed with trained prosecutors who handle cases with trauma-informed approach, ensuring effective prosecution and victim support. Number 4, standard operating procedures for GBV case handling. In July 2024, the Kwale Court Users Committee unveiled the first ever SOP manual to streamline the reporting and handling of SGBV cases. The manual outlines procedures for proper reporting, meticulous evidence recording, and effective prosecution, aiming to ensure victims receive prompt and effective justice. Police reforms and capacity building. The National Police Service has recommended several reforms, including digitalization of P3 forms and post-rape forms, integration of GBV information management system, and establishment of specialized GBV response units at all police stations. These measures aim to enhance the efficiency and for professionalism of police responses to GBV measures to GBV cases. International support and training. UN Women has been instrumental in training over 600 officers across Kenya's National Police Service and National Transport and Safety Authority. This program focuses on recognizing signs of potential femicide and promoting a victim-centered approach to law enforcement. These reforms represent a concerted effort by the Kenya government and its partners to strengthen institutional capacities and ensure timely justice for survivors and ultimately reduce the incidence of femicide in the country. Reduce or stop completely. C, the question then was, could the government cabinet secretary provide data on the prosecution? And I would invite you to see Annexure 3. There is an Annexure 3 at the back. Annexure 3 provides a summary of femicide data in Kenya, and the source, honorable member, of this data is the Ministry of Interior and Administration. So I'll invite you to see that data, which clearly gives the summary.
Madam CS, just a minute. I've been approached by the owner of this question, Professor Tom Ojenda, and he has received the response. He has gone through the response. It's so lengthy, and he feels satisfied. So I wanted us to save time because the senior counsel is up, a senator for Kisumu. It's the property of those, but first of all, if the member is satisfied, and if you have supplementary question, because you know the reason why this document is circulated is for the senators to engage with this document. So, yes, Senator Tom Ojenda, just have a seat, I do some.
Unlike my Senator Chirargei, I'm a gender-based violence expert, and I'm happy with the response. I read a lot. So I read a response, and I'm satisfied that CS Cheptumo has done a comprehensive response to the question, and I'm happy. Unlike Mr. Chirargei here, who rarely reads.
Senator Chelagei. No, Senator, just a minute, Senator Chelagei. You know this behavior of exchanging between the hierarchies. Personally, I will never accept that. While presiding in this house, I will never accept those exchanges. So you should wait for him to finish, the senator for Kisumu, and then you can also make your point of honor or whatever else you wanted to say. Because we have actually interrupted him, whatever he was saying. So Senator Tom Ojenda, did you conclude? Okay. What is it? What is it, Senator Chelagei?
Mr. Speaker, is it in order, understanding order 101 on contents of speeches, for Senator Professor Tomo Gender to allude that I don't read, Mr. Speaker. I have written even books, Mr. Speaker. He is the one who used to force us in class to read his own book. And I read his book from cover to cover on principles of conveyancing, Mr. Speaker. Is he not that he should withdraw and apologize? Because I am known to be an avid reader and he can visit my private library after this.
It's quite out of honor to ask your lecturer, your teacher, professor of law to apologize to you.
We are equal, Mr. Speaker, before this House of Union, Mr. Speaker.
No, let me first clear this. So, Madam CS, if there is anything you feel you want to, maybe to, as you summarize your presentation, if there is anything that you feel you want to insist, Senator Veronica, now, who is now really communicating in this house? Is it Senator Veronica or the chair? So, Madam CS, if there is anything that you want to comment as you summarize, then we ask a few supplementary questions, then we create more time for the business. If nothing, you have nothing, then we engage the supplementary questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me an opportunity to just make some recommendations for consideration. Number one, for the ministry to effectively operationalize protection centers, including polycare, there is need for increased funding. Currently, the protection of against domestic violence is in progress, spearheaded by Kenya Law Reform, supported by Attorney General's Office. So we are seeking for consideration to be passed as an act of parliament when it has gone through the entire processes. We consider additional funds to operationalize gender-based violence protection centers and GAF. The gender-related targets to be part of performance contracting, including gender targets in performance, including gender targets in performance contracting. In Kenya, it is crucial for advancing gender equality and fulfilling national and international requirements. Performance contracts compel ministries, departments, and agencies to actively implement gender-related policies and for tracking of the same. So with the gender targets included, institutions are held accountable for translating policy into measurable action. And integrating targets in performance contracting is not just a compliance issue, it is a strategic tool to foster equitable, inclusive, and efficient governance. It moves gender equality from rhetoric to results, ensuring government institutions contribute to transformational change for women, men, girls, and boys across Kenya. There is also the establishment of the Survivors Fund as per the Generation Equality Forum in partnership with the private sector. Because once the survivors are let out there, some of them have their harms have been mutilated. So the Survivor Fund will help in ensuring that they have life even after what they have gone through. So those are some of the recommendations that we are bringing on board so that this ministry is supported and this sector is supported, because it really goes to the core of the family. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Madam CS, for the response. So we have a few supplementary questions. One is Senator John Mungai Bugwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like the Cabinet Secretary to highlight to us the partnerships which exist between the ministry, the civil society, and the faith-based organizations to strengthen the GVP reporting and survivor support systems. Thank you.
Madam CS, just reckon the 4 questions that are ahead of you. Next is Senator Veronica Waheti Nduwati.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Madam CS, you know we have had a very high escalation of gender-based violence cases and femicide.
And His Excellency the President has reiterated the government's commitment in tackling GBV. And to this end, an allocation of 100 million was done under Article 223 of the Constitution. And we had a meeting on 20th November 2024 between the ministry and women leaders across the whole country to address this issue. And following that meeting, the women leaders submitted work plans to go across all the constituencies to deal with. Honorable CS, could you guide the House on when this hit this GBV head-on and deal with it from across all the constituencies in Kenya, hoping that the incidences of femicide can be reduced in the country? What is the current position on that fund?
Next is Senator Catherine Muyeka Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask. Honorable CS, thank you for your responses, but I wanted to just bring to your attention that you are aware of the Nancy Baraza task force, which was put in place because of the rampant issues of femicide. Honorable CS, we don't have a femicide law in this country, so even prosecuting a femicide offense is difficult in this jurisdiction. And so I just wanted to ask, one, how is the ministry bringing together all different actors to ensure that all parameters around GBV and femicide, from the legal, the justice, the social, the cultural, and all are addressed? It's a question, Honorable CS, I know you're just new in office, and I'm asking it just to broaden your thinking so that as you settle in, it might be an approach you might want to look at. Honorable Speaker, allow me just to make one comment. Honorable CS, the gender indicators will never improve unless we acknowledge that gender is a cross-cutting issue that must be discussed on every decision-making table. It needs to be discussed in the Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Water, and everywhere. So greater collaboration by your ministry and coordination in a technical manner is what will help us move forward. So my question then would be, how will you get this collaboration with the key stakeholders in order for us to reduce the instances of GBV and femicide?
That was the last question. Madam CS, you can answer the 3 questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll first take the question by Senator Mungai. Yes, on the issue of the partnerships. So we have the gender sector working groups, which work together with us very closely to ensure that we have solutions to these issues which are very prevalent. We also have gender officers at the counties. At every county, there is a gender officer who are collecting the data, and they report back to us. Then we can be able to, that is why we are able to identify where are these hotspots and what is it that is causing this prevalence or the surges of these gender-based violence matters. About the 100 million amount, this is a matter that we would need to seek clarification or to make a follow-up on how it should, or when it should be disbursed, so that it can go for the purpose for which it was meant. So you allow us to follow up and then be able to report back or ensure that it is disbursed. We don't have to wait until we come back here. If we can have it rolled down, then the better. That is one of the things that I'll be following up on, and I'm aware about it. On the issue, Professor Muma, about the task force, the task force is still collecting the information, and once they come up with the report, we shall be able to receive and implement as fast as possible, because this is a task force that is going around the country, and they are receiving information as to why all of a sudden these femicide cases are on the rise. The femicide law, as we speak, is not a law in itself. It is in the penal code, and it is being considered as murder. So let's wait and see what comes out of the data, and then we'll be able to work together with all the groups, the judiciary, and all the groups. We shall be able to see the recommendation and ensure that these femicide cases come to an end. Again, on the issue of the gender indicators and the collaboration by all the sectors, this is something that we have to really go out of our way, because gender is in every sector. Gender is in agriculture, gender is in all departments, in all ministries. So as the lead ministry, we shall be reaching out to all the sectors to ensure that the gender issue is addressed at every level, so that it is not left to just a unit, it's not left to just a ministry. It is supposed to be cross-cutting, so that we can be able to reach as many people as possible and be able to finish this thing that is actually becoming a snare in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Madam CS, I want to really appreciate you coming to the Senate, and you have handled the questions from the senators. So if there are any commitments of made, you'll be able to communicate through the relevant committee or the clerk of the Senate to answer those issues that you are not able to expressly be able to answer. So I want to thank you very much. I want to release you now to go and serve Kenyans. That is the end of the session. Members are happy with your response, and we have finished that session. Unless if you want to sit around, I can see you are really enjoying the Senate. If you want to sit around, you can sit and wait.
No, maybe just to say thank you very much for listening to me. Yes, it is true, it was my first time, but thank you very much for the contributions. We will definitely work on the recommendations which have been made.
And of course, you know you are senator by default.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So thank you very much indeed. So clerk, go to the next order. Next order, clerk.
Order number 8, the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, second reading. Resumption of debate interrupted on Tuesday, 20th May 2025.
When the business was interrupted yesterday, Senator Gondi Friososi had a balance of 10 minutes. And if he's not around, then he will forfeit that privilege to spend his 10 minutes. So we go to the next. Online is Senator Chalagay Samson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. This one of the the reason Senate exists, Mr. Speaker, is on this division of Revenue Bill 2025, that is a precursor of financial year 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, this is very critical. that at this time we are discussing the division of revenue as per Article 210, Mr. Speaker, where at least 15% should go of the latest audited accounts. Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues that National Assembly should move with speed, because it doesn't make sense, Mr. Speaker, that now, Mr. Speaker, we're having a budget that is 4 trillion Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker, yet the proposal is to give counties 405 billion, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask the National Assembly to fast-track and ensure that the latest audited account is within even less than one financial year, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, so that counties, and we are proposed, and the nation should follow this, Mr. Speaker, that we are proposing that counties must get at least 465 billion. I expect that as we go to mediation, the position of the Senate should and must stand to get sure that the counties get 465 billion, up from 370 billion that was in financial year 24-25, Mr. Speaker. So that counties, Mr. Speaker, there are many things that counties should do. There are many money that counties should get, Mr. Speaker, so that we can see service delivery, Mr. Speaker. I heard yesterday during the ISPAC meeting in Mombasa, the argument of National Assembly Chairperson on Finance and Planning, say the reason counties should not get more money is because there is corruption. But there is corruption everywhere, even in national government and county governments. That is one of the lame excuses that I've ever heard, Mr. Speaker. That the chair of Finance and National Planning yesterday in ISPAC meeting in Mombasa could say counties should not get more money because of corruption. And you had the majority leader yesterday said corruption is everywhere. You cannot, Mr. Speaker, they say before you kill a dog, you give it a bad name. And that is what National Assembly are trying to do our county. In fact, my proposal, and I want to agree with Prime Minister Raila Odinga, that all funds should go to only 2 offices, the National Executive and the Governor. And I want to ask members of National Assembly, if you want to manage funds, run for only 2 seats, the Governor or the President. The Constitution is very clear, Article 94 and 96, that the work of Parliament is legislation, oversight, budget-making process, representation. And there is wisdom why the 2010 Constitution ensure that Parliament should do that job, because you cannot oversight yourself. As they say in Kiswahili, and quote-unquote, Mr. Speaker, muganga ajigangi. And that is the essence, that the National Assembly should oversight National Executive, the Senate and the County Assembly should oversight the governors, Mr. Speaker. So I don't see any reason, Mr. Speaker, that National Assembly is arguing that since there is corruption in counties, but we have ethics and anti-corruption. You have seen the governor of Trans Nzoia has been arrested and arraigned before court of law. You saw the other day that the former governor of Busia was taken to anti-corruption case of 8 million Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker. We have a number of governors that are facing corruption allegation cases in court that are being prosecuted by DPP and EACC. We cannot allow, Mr. Speaker, that somebody wants to kill devolution so that they can have the money at the center. In fact, my prayer, Mr. Speaker, is going into the future, Mr. Speaker, that we must agree that let us devolve so much money and resources to counties until no one cares who is the president of Kenya. That is my dream. Say that when you are in Meru, your people are satisfied and you have your resources at Meru County, you divide. When you are in Garissa, Mr. Speaker, and I was disappointed, Mr. Speaker, over the weekend, that the county government of Garissa, led by a governor, decided to do a cultural festivals, yet the city does not have water or even clean toilet, Mr. Speaker. So it's very unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that even, Mr. Speaker, even like they have not even completed a called Baraki Malamin 56 kilometer of water that connects the town that was worth, Mr. Speaker, 219 million. But they are doing cultural festival in Garissa, Mr. Speaker. In fact, Garissa County have 17 projects that have stalled that amount to 504 million that are yet to be complete, but they have money, which were millions of shillings that they can do cultural events in Garissa County, Mr. Speaker. They should be called out. Those are the people who are giving a bad name devolution, Mr. Speaker. Those are, in fact, they purchase food worth 34 million to flood victims in Garissa, Mr. Speaker. But that money should be used in a fair and transparent manner so that we see value, Mr. Speaker. Even when we were fixing Meru, Mr. Speaker, by removing the former governor, was to bring order and sanity. So I want to call out governors who give it a bad name, devolution. That is why devolution wants to be killed by individuals, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, we must agree that as a nation, we must agree that money should go to counties to ensure there is value for money, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I have seen that counties from March, April, Mr. Speaker, equitable shareable revenue has both been dispersed. 74.98 billion is yet to be dispersed. Mr. Speaker, under Article 219, and the CS of National Treasury should be aware of this, that Article 219 says when the money has been dispersed, it should be dispersed without undue delay under Article 219 until and unless stopped under Article 225, Mr. Speaker. That is when the Constitution envisages that money should not be sent to a county when it has been stopped under 225 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. The violation of Article 219, and I remember we didn't sanction the former minister, Ukuri Yatani, over delay of disbursement to counties, Mr. Speaker. Let the National Treasury, I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, and I want to congratulate them, that they have released the school capitation of over around 22 billion capitation fees for second term to schools. But they must release 74.98 billion to counties that from February, March, and April, Mr. Speaker, so that the functions within counties can be pursued seamlessly, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, apart from corruption and prudent expenditure by counties, Mr. Speaker, we must agree as a nation. And I would have expected an opposition as the Senate, and I hope as we go to mediation and members of finance and budget are here, we must agree, Mr. Speaker, that our position as the Senate, we must push for 465 billion Kenyan shillings, Mr. Speaker. Number four, Mr. Speaker, is on concurrent functions. Mr. Speaker, we need to have clarity on community health programs, CHVs, Mr. Speaker. Because when you move under our county, CHVs have not been paid, Mr. Speaker. There is another, Mr. Speaker, the issue of UHC, universal health coverage. Mr. Speaker, I hope you have seen whenever you are driving into Parliament, the UHC staff are always demonstrating, Mr. Speaker. You have even directed from your seat that we received their petition, Mr. Speaker. These are the people when soldiers were hiding in barracks, when big men and women wielding power are hiding because of COVID. It is only these heroines and heroes of Kenya that confronted the fight against COVID-19, Mr. Speaker. It is sad today that the country does not see value of UHC staff, Mr. Speaker. And even Council of Governors, the other day they say they don't have a budget, Mr. Speaker. They were arguing that they gave us a pet to take it home, but it turned into a skunk, Mr. Speaker. Or they gave us a skunk to take it home and turn into a pet, Mr. Speaker. We must agree, and I want to challenge National Assembly, that under the conditional grant, at least we should give 2 billion as a ring fence for transit of UHC. But they must first be given, Mr. Speaker, the gratuity so that they can get value for the money, Mr. Speaker. The UHC that are demonstrating daily, we must listen to them, Mr. Speaker. And you remember the Minister of Health was here, although he said he doesn't take my counsel, but my counsel is rarely given, and it is valuable, Mr. Speaker. You remember the Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale said he cannot take advice from Cherargei, and it is on record. But I'm saying my counsel is rare but very valuable, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
There is a point of information from Senator Endi Okeji.
To the House or me?
Be informed.
Okay, yes.
Ready?
Mr. Speaker, my brother Senator Cherargei has just spoken about the universal health care workers. And he has said that there should be at least 2 billion allocated for them. I wanted to inform Senator Cherargei that because we share this gravity of the issue, the 2 billion cannot be enough for them because the money that we need to be able to make sure that UHCs are actually compensated properly is 3.5 billion. So I wanted to inform you that that is a very important number that we cannot go below. And most importantly, we also cannot compromise the issue of permanent and pensionable for them. So even as we combine those two, the 2 billion is too small for them. It should be 3.5 billion and above.
Senator Cherege, you are well informed. Eh?
He has advantage of sitting in finance and budget, member. I think 3.5
billion.
billion.
You should ensure that money is.
Yeah, you should ensure, even as we go for mediation, our bare minimum is to ensure that 3.5 billion is ring-fenced for payment of gratuity and hiring on permanent and pensionable of UHC staff. And I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, even during permanent and pensionable, we did push under junior secondary schools, JSS, for 6,000, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm coming up with a proposal to amend the PSC Act that all public service commission interns who intern with government, after 6 months, they must be transited to permanent and pensionable so that we retrain the quality of training of those staff, Mr. Speaker, and we don't pay stipend, Mr. Speaker. As we talk, even as the UHC staff demonstrate, Mr. Speaker, it is sad because in our hospitals, there are no services. Yet we have staff that had already been trained. Mr. Speaker, I want to advise Council of Governors and Ministry of Health. Let us not lose UHC staff because they have already trained, they have worked, they have experience. So the least we could do as a country, we need to appreciate the heroes and heroines of COVID-19 pandemic staff. Mr. Speaker, you remember soldiers could not come out of barracks because no one knew how to handle COVID in this country, Mr. Speaker. So that the UHC staff and CHVs, we must look at it, Mr. Speaker. The public debt, I have seen the reasoning of allocating is the public debt, which is approaching 11 trillion, Mr. Speaker. I want to call upon, and I want to challenge the Finance and Budget of National Assembly and the Senate and His Excellency the President, that why don't we do an audit of the public debt, Mr. Speaker, so that we know in these 11 trillion shillings, who do we owe and who owe us, Mr. Speaker? It cannot be that the country pays a public debt that an audit has never been done, Mr. Speaker, of around 11 trillion Kenya shillings. I want to say that one of the things that Parliament can do is to demand an audit of the entire public debt that the country is paying. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have to tax Kenyans. We have to borrow so that we can pay tax. Because in the past, Mr. Speaker, in the past regime, there was reckless and abandonment of borrowing, Mr. Speaker, that we cannot account for. Through the SGR, through the infrastructure roles, Mr. Speaker, we must demand for an audit of public debt in this country of 11 trillion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. And even, Mr. Speaker, it is very disappointing that most of the businessmen in Meru, in Nandi, in Kilifi, in Narok, in Migori, in Garissa, in Isiolo, are suffering because of lack of the payment of pending bills, Mr. Speaker. It cannot be that the controller of budget is releasing money, yet we have pending bills of 185.446 billion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. You are killing our small business. I remember Senator Kisheru was coming up with a bill of startups. How will you support the small businesses in our villages and in our counties if you do not pay pending bill? And you remember the Ladamas motion, Mr. Speaker. We had resolved as a House that the pending bills must be paid. Mr. Speaker, in the last session, the National Treasury issued a circular that counties must give an undertaking of payment of pending bills. But it is sad that the pending bill as of today is 185.46 billion Kenya shillings, with Nairobi leading with over 100 billion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. We must be told where is the money going. When you go to the controller budget, the requisitions have been made. When you come, the pending bills. Mr. Speaker, because we have a problem called voiding of payments, Mr. Speaker, where you take the money to pay X, but they end up paying Y, Mr. Speaker, and we must be told on this public debt, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of equalization fund, under Article 204, that 10 billion, I want to request that the finance and budget must tell the nation what happened to equalization fund. We have been passing time, Nandi is supposed to benefit in Kapchorwa ward, Soba Songo, Mr. Speaker, and Chemelil Chemas ward, although Terik and Chepteroi ward should be beneficiary in Nandi County. But we are yet to get it, Mr. Speaker. I want to challenge that we must also demand a special audit by OAG to look into the equalization fund. And I know Meru is a beneficiary, Kilifi, Mr. Speaker, and many other counties should benefit from equalization fund, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, even finally on the 50th point is on source revenue, Mr. Speaker, we must agree. The revenue potential, for example, of Nairobi is 63 billion. But when they collect 11 billion, 13 billion, they become excited. The revenue potential of Nandi is 800 billion. But when Sang collects 200 billion, it's to celebrate. Is it a case where a chicken lays an egg and makes a lot of noise as opposed to a cow which gives a lot of milk, Mr. Speaker? We must look at the on-source revenue. For Nandi, we have multinational tea estates, land rates, land rent, among others, Mr. Speaker, so that we can ensure that we support, Mr. Speaker. But I want to challenge counties, and I want to warn governors. No governor is special. Even if you criticize the president, you are not special. We want to tell the governor of Trans Nzoia that he must be held accountable. However much he tries to politicize the issue, he must face the full wrath of the law, Mr. Speaker. And I want even to throw behind, Mr. Speaker, this country people should avoid bad manners. I want to thank Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan for calling out activists who wanted to go and disrupt the peace in Tanzania. In fact, should have detained and prosecuted them because they have taught this country bad manners, Mr. Speaker. These activists, they have taught our people to insult, to undermine, to lose respect to the leadership of this country, Mr. Speaker. Tanzania is a very peaceful country. And what President Samia Suluhu Hassan said, we should respect our countries, Mr. Speaker. There is mutual respect. And I hope as the activists run around East Africa trying to meddle in the internal affairs, they must be put to stop, Mr. Speaker. Because what business would you have to go and meddle in affairs of Tanzania? What business, Mr. Speaker? These activists, and I want to ask President Samia Suluhu Hassan, Mr. Speaker, of Tanzania, to be very careful because these activists are funded by enemies of Africa who want to destabilize the unity, the peace and tranquility of most African nations, Mr. Speaker. You saw even in the last Gen Z protest, Mr. Speaker, there were allegations that international donors were financing instability, Mr. Speaker, in this country using what we call international donors, Mr. Speaker. So I want to ask the President Samia Suluhu Hassan that in the spirit of East Africa, he should assist us to discipline some of these ill-behaved activists that have continued to destabilize Kenya, Mr. Speaker. The island of peace of Tanzania must be protected, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chalagay.
And our finye kabisa.
Senator Chalagay, can you relate what you are now discussing with the division of revenue bill? Can you relate the two? Because you
I'm trying to relate.
Digressing.
What I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, we need stability in Tanzania and in Kenya because there is balance of trade. We export and import. We get taxes. Then we build on the division of revenue, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I'm saying we should not disturb the peace and unity of Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. And ask Samia Suluhu Hassan afinya wakabisa.
There's a minute.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious flaw in this House, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, this is on 105 in the statement of facts. Mr. Speaker, is it in order for the Senator of Nandi, who is a lawyer, to actually misinform the House and misinform the public on what informs the action of deportation of Kenyans from Tanzania, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, if you look at Article 104 of the EAC Common Market Protocol of 2015, it expressly says and guarantees the freedom of movement of service, labor, and goods within the East African region. If you look at the treaty, Mr. Speaker, that was established in 1999, Mr. Speaker, it allows the tenets of democracy to actually permeate in the region entirely, Mr. Speaker. How can Senator Chalagay allow the existence of those treaties, Mr. Speaker? This is something that must be condemned and is not right and could actually lead to reciprocation by Kenyans for other members, Mr. Speaker. So is it factual that that's the tenets of our democracy, Mr. Speaker, that dictatorship in Tanzania is exclusive to our dictatorship in the country?
Senator Chalagay has heard you. Let him respond.
The Senator Eddie should withdraw and apologize. There is no dictatorship in Tanzania because they do elections regularly. Correct. So it is very wrong. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to answer point of order. And after
1 minute?
Yes. So he must withdraw and apologize because Samia Suluhu Hassan, president, She has been elected to be in that office alongside the late Magufuli. Number two, under the EAC treaty, it talks about goods and services. Martha Karua and other busybody activists are not defined as goods and services. Unless I got it, the treaty of 1999.
Goods, services, and labor.
And which labor was a busybodies activist? The Martha Karua and Boniface were taking to Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. And NGO money and cloud chasing in TikTok and Facebook, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I submit and I pray that we go to mediation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I shall not be intimidated. These are people who are financed by NGOs, Mr. Speaker. I will not be moved. If they have eaten NGOs money from Soros, Mr. Speaker, I should ensure.
Senator Chalege, you have finished. Assume your seat. Senator Mboni.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, I think, however emotional we can become during debate, but we must uphold parliamentary language. Mr. Speaker, Mother Karua is an honorable member who has served this republic, not only in this house, but also in cabinet. And Mr. Speaker, Mother Karua was one of the engines behind the success of the promotion of the fast tracking of the East African community. Mr. Speaker, for the Senator of Nandi to call Mother Karua and Professor Willie Mutunga as busybodies should not reflect anywhere in the records of this House. You'll have
so
time.
What is out of order, Senator Boni Karua?
In fact, I'm on point of order.
Because you are now also trying to do a debate. So what is your point of order? Be specific.
Yes. The point of order is the Honorable Senator, in order to use unparliamentary language, and I've specified calling distinguished Kenyans busybodies, is in order. Mr. Speaker, I demand that he withdraws and apologizes abundantly to William Tunga, Professor, and Mother Karua. I would forgive him if he's talking about people like Boniface Mwangi. That's okay. But not these two characters, these distinguished Kenyans.
Yes, Senator Chalege.
Mr. Speaker, I just say busybodies. People are busy. In fact, I am better than President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who say viumbe. In fact, I am better. I'm saying they are busybodies. What is their job description as at now? They are former, so, and we know what they are trying to achieve. These are activists who want to
Senator Mboni Kalwale, your point of order is on standing on the 122. Yes. 122, 1B. When a senator declines to retract use of unparliamentary language or declines to offer apologies, despite having been ordered to do so by the Speaker. So he becomes gross disorderly conduct. That is where now you are going to, and you know the consequences. We must respect the standing orders like the Bible.
Okay, okay.
So that we can
Mr. Speaker, with tremendous respect, because you are the chair of Njurinjeke, I withdraw and substitute. It's a respected house of decision among the Ameru community.
It's an
yes.
Council of Elders.
Council of Elders, it is recognized under the Constitution.
One of them actually divined.
And I was there. In fact, when I was there with you, the Njurinjeke went into a trance as you approached to address them. So I have every right to ensure that... Mr. Speaker, I withdraw the word busybody and good for nothing individuals, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Senator Olekina Rendama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report by the Committee of Finance and Budget in as far as their contribution to the Division of Revenue Bill. Mr. Speaker, as I seek your indulgence with my vocals, I want to remind this House that we've been here before. we've been here where we are supporting the report of our Committee on Finance and Budget and rejecting the proposed DORA from the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, if you're very keen to listen to the Finance and Budget Committee, the Finance and Budget Committee are telling us that the National Assembly is completely violating the Constitution. It is violating Article 202 that demands for revenue raised to be shared equitably. It is also violating the Constitution in the sense that they have received the audited financial statement from the Auditor General for the year 2024-2025, but they have refused to consider, meaning any funds which are being shared can never be shared equitably between the national government and the county government. Mr. Speaker, if we are relying on audited financial statement for the year 2019, 2020-2021, the only amount of money that can be proposed by the National Assembly to be shared among counties will only be about 14%. What does that tell us, Mr. Speaker? It tells us that all these new taxations policies which are being introduced by the government are only going to hurt Kenyans more and create huge pending bills where all these governors will be appearing before a committee of budgets, they'll be appearing before our oversight committees to answer questions as why they are not remitting their statutory deductions. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the undiscretionary expenditures alone amounts to a total of about 31 billion. The amount of money that we had proposed and we went through mediation back and forth for the last DORA was only going to be about 405 billion. But we were pushed down, even after those mediation, we were pushed down to a figure of about 387. Now, let's just be realistic. We have had an agreement between our party ODM and KK that we are going to endeavor to ensure that we send at least 450 billion to the counties. Where did we have this agreement? Because we are aware, we are alive to the fact that there are these undiscretionary expenditures that must be taken care of. Because if you are deducting money from an employee and you yourself as an employer are not able to remit the 30 billion that you have deducted because you do not have enough money to pay your pending bills or to introduce any other development, then what are you going to be doing? Mr. Speaker, sir, we are continuing to dig a deeper hole when it comes to an issue of our fiduciary responsibility. It is about time, Mr. Speaker, that we ask ourselves whether these debates and whether the position we take as a Senate is a position that we all understand, that we are fighting for our counties to be able to get money so that there are no pending bills, so that also they can be able to complete the cycle whereby you deduct statutory deductions, you remit them to allow the government to continue raising funds. Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest challenges that I see is that sometimes there is a huge disconnect. And I strongly believe that there is a time that we should, this House, the Committee of Budget of the National Assembly and the Committee of Budget of the Senate should actually sit together and try to make sense of the DORA. Before it comes here, we waste time, we debate, we try to drill some sense into how money should be divided using the Constitution. But we seem to be getting nowhere. We are trying to drill wisdom to the Committee of Budget of the National Assembly. That there's no way that you're going to come here and say that you are proposing to give counties 405 billion, yet alone, if you are to take these undiscretionary expenditures, like the housing levy, like the SHIF, like the NSSF, you know, like also other expenditures, you know, there's no way, this 31 billion, there's no way you can be able to support these counties. Even if you take the 387 plus the 31 billion, that gives you 418 billion. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to be candid enough that if we are supporting devolution, we do it with facts. We put facts on the table and we try to educate these people on the need to ensure that we maintain a fiduciary responsibility. Mr. Speaker, the reason why a lot of people blame the control of budget is because they don't read the Constitution. They don't read the laws. You know, we were here the other day arguing about money being sent to Nyamira County. And some of us were busy blaming the control of budget for releasing money to 2 different assemblies. Yet we have a law that all of us must read and understand. If you read Section 103 and Section 104 of the PFM Act, it is quite clear. It says 103 says establishment of the county treasury. 104 says that the head of the county treasury shall be the CC in charge of finance. And only the CC in charge of finance can be able to send requisitions to the control of budget. So we need to be clear here, because sometimes we talk, yet we don't have facts. Today, I want to demystify this issue of the division of revenue bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, this constitution, which all of us read on a daily basis, it's quite clear. If you go to Article 201, Article 202, in fact, Article 201 talks about a fiduciary responsibility. If you look at 201, Mr. Speaker, it says the principles, the following principles shall guide the aspects of public finance in the Republic. And I refer clearly to the public finance system shall promote an equitable society, and in particular, the burden of taxation shall be shared fairly. Revenue raised nationally shall be shared equitably among national and county government. And finally, expenditures shall promote the equitable development of the county, including by making special provision for the marginalized groups and other areas. Now, we talk about the Equalization Fund, Mr. Speaker. Equalization Fund already, and there's a mistake in this report, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that when a report is tabled, we go through it and we look at it. We do not own, Equalization Fund is not owed 2.7 trillion. It is only owed 27 billion. So that should be corrected in this report. That is the first thing. Now, the Committee of Finance is proposing that the money which should be set aside for the Equalization Fund should be 9 billion shillings. Already, there's a debt of 26 billion. How are we going to resolve this debt? We are going to compound debt over debt. We need to be realistic. If we are not able to raise that money, in fact, this is where I differ with the Committee on Finance. Because if we already owed 26 billion, you are asking, what has been proposed is 7 billion. You ask and saying, add an additional 2 billion. So 27 plus 7 is 34. If you add another 2, it's 36 billion. Yet, there is a sunset clause. Sunset clause on this Equalization Fund. The Constitution is actually quite clear in terms of the Equalization Fund. I think it's Article 2, is it 204? 204, it talks about the Equalization Fund, and it sets a sunset clause. For 20 years. And that 20 years is lapsing very soon. So the question that I haven't had the Finance Committee responding to, or any of my colleagues, and I'll seek some wise counsel from my colleague, Senator Eddy, is that what happens if we don't amend the Constitution to be able to extend the time of the Equalization Fund and the 20 years is coming to an end? What happened? Yet, the money has still not been paid. Is this money going to be in a fund which exists? Or is it going to be in a fund, or it's going to be in a fund that exists? So these are questions that we must ask ourselves diligently, ask ourselves and see where is the problem and how are we going to resolve this problem. Then it comes to the issue of accountability, Mr. Speaker. We are all complaining that projects are stalling. You know, there are so many projects which the national government has initiated. And when it comes to the issue of Narok County, Mr. Speaker, I want to be very candid and very clear on this. There's an airport which is a responsibility between both the national government and the county government. And I applaud my county government of Narok and the Ministry of Transport because, of course, they have looked at issues to do with Article 187 of the Constitution in terms of a function which is for national government being undertaken by another level of government. And coming and saying, we need this service. If the national government cannot afford it, we, the people of Narok, who I consider ourselves very rich, can be able to afford to build the terminal. So these projects must be completed. You know, when you initiate the project, let's complete them. This is why I said the other day, the contractor, and I want to call upon the Ministry of Transport and KAA, please move to site because you're not on the site. I was there 2 days ago. I'll be there again on Friday. I'll be a thorn in your flesh to make sure that these projects are completed. That is the only way we are going to be able to make sense. Mr. Speaker, sir, a couple of days ago, I listened to my colleague, Senator Kajwang, and he was raising a very valid point. And Senator Kajwang really asked a very simple question. He said, why is it that when governors are exiting, they start launching huge projects